Welcome to Season 2 of Little Warriors. I'm your host, Rebecca Horan, and on Episode 8, I'm chatting to Ann Teehan from Neatly.ie. Ann is helping busy women create calm, clutter-free homes. She helps people sort their lives out through organising and simplifying. This is a gorgeous episode. But before we get into it, thanks to Loopy by Lidl for supporting Little Warriors. I never miss an opportunity to get into Lidl to stock up for so many bits for my kids, especially because my youngest is still in their Loopy nappies and they've got the Loopy biodegradable water wipes and the pants right up to size 7 as well. And do make sure to keep an eye on the Lidl Plus app for regular offers on the Loopy range. And just to say, the big ski event is underway in Lidl stores across the country. So get in there because they have incredible things like ladies and men's ski jackets, ski trousers, loads of seamless base layer sets, accessories like the premium sports socks, underlayers, hats, at such good value. So get in there to the big ski event in Lidl stores across the country. It's underway right now. And thanks again to Loopy by Lidl for supporting the podcast. The word busy is probably overused and abused a lot, but we are busy and our lifestyles, we need a hand, and we're always looking for kind of someone to help and support us in any way. So on the podcast today, a mother of 4 and a very busy businesswoman as well, Ann Teehan, who is founder of Neatly, which I've discovered through Instagram. There's some wonderful things you can discover on Instagram, helping us, stay organized, declutter our homes and live stress-free lives. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's pretty smart. It's a smart move. You were saying to me you were a nurse. Tell me a bit about your background before you got into Neatly.
Yeah, I was a nurse for 30 years, including my training. And I had been trying to get out of nursing for a while. I had an eco shop in Greystones for a few years.
Okay.
And when I sold that in 2023 and I started kind of clearing the house, because my house was a bit like a stock room.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed how the clear space, I was like, oh, I really like this. And just the feeling that you get, you kind of feel calmer and lighter.
Yeah.
And then somebody at work, so I was still nursing part-time, said that his sister did that for as a living. So I was like really interested in that, and I kind of looked into it. And I kind of had learned, because I'd been naturally messy.
Okay.
And I had learned over the years a few little tweaks that I could make that would make my life a little bit easier myself. So then I put kind of a formal training to it. I trained at Carter in the UK, and I got to do my work experience on Sort Your Life Out on BBC, which was like decluttering on a big scale. And then, I started helping families, and I haven't looked back. I just love the reaction I get from, at the end when I've done the big declutter, and people are like the next day sending me a message saying, oh my God, just the morning ran so much easier, and just something so simple that can make your life a little bit easier.
But it's interesting that you say, you've 4 children, busy lives. You were telling me there, kind of off mic, 2 had been diagnosed. So there was small difficulties, wonderful children thriving, but there was things that you were dealing with. They were also at home, schooled at home. And there was so much going on in your life. And you were also telling me you weren't that tidy, you weren't that clean. So how does a woman go from quite a chaotic at times life to being this organized, businesswoman who's helping other women who are feeling really overwhelmed? Like, how do you flip that whole personality?
I think it was very gradual. Like, it was over the years, things that worked well for us. You know what I mean? Like certain little tweaks to the laundry, or having a landing zone for things makes a huge difference, because then, especially like the kitchen counter clutter used to drive me mad.
What do you mean a landing zone? I really love that. What's that?
So I have a tray. So I got a really pretty tray, and it's on my counter, and all the stuff that would land on the counter goes in there. So we just pop it in there. So people still might put stuff on the counter, but I'll pop it all in the tray. So it contains it in that tray. It's not spread all over the place. And I know that kind of once a week, or when it's looking full, that I'll go through it and assign, if it's something that has to be filed, or something that has to go in the bin, or whatever. Hair bobbins, they go where the hair bobbins go.
Okay.
So it's just a landing zone to kind of contain
So routine,
things.
being organised, having a place for things really helps the head, particularly when you've, low mood or a lot of different energies in the house or personalities and the stress. It helps you guys.
Totally helps. No, it definitely helps me.
Yeah.
And I think when I'm less stressed.
Yes.
That kind of leads the mood of the house, really, doesn't it? So yeah, I find that really helps.
That's really interesting. When you're less stressed, there's all these studies done from Harvard University, and even there's a recent study in Cambridge about when the mum of the house mental health or stress levels are low. It's a pity it's always the mum of the house. It just, everything is a little bit easier for everyone because we do dictate. And that's it's a pressure, but if we can take the heat off, it helps.
Yeah, you kind of set the mood.
It does set the mood. What do you do when you go in to help others? What do you do? Like, how do you start when someone's home is, say, very cluttered, or they're collecting a lot of stuff, or hoarders?
So I take it kind of one room at a time. So say yesterday I was doing a walk-in wardrobe and I literally take everything out. I do the same in the kitchen. I take literally absolutely everything out. And you're left with an empty space. It's just like, they're like, oh wow, it's like when I moved into the house. And then I declutter with them. And I help them do that, and then I organise everything back in a way that's kind of user friendly. Like in the kitchen, that makes sense that your herbs and spices are here when your hob is here. Your cereals are by your bowls, and your tea, coffee are there by your kettle with your cups. And just kind of, that makes sense. And people can do it themselves, but I wouldn't do it as one big whole thing. I would encourage them to do it just bit by bit, so they don't get overwhelmed. But the advantage of doing it, like having an organizer come in and do it, is that they take everything out and rejig things. Whereas if you're doing it bit by bit, you don't really do that. You just tidy each cupboard, but which is fantastic too. If you're decluttering, clearing stuff is always good. But looking at where things are and how things work.
Is
important.
To make the house run smoothly. Like, so you could have a really small house and just a lot of stuff in it. And, I love all those kind of IKEA foldaways or those little drawers. It's finding spots for things.
Yeah, everything needs to have a home.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you can pop it back and try and put it back instead of putting it down. I mean, that doesn't always happen. Or I always say, in the evening, kind of put the kitchen to bed.
Yes.
So, which is just, it only takes you a couple of minutes, but I didn't do that last night because I was knackered.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to do it all the time, but when you get up in the morning and it's done, you are, you're glad you did it.
Yeah. And it's like a therapy. It kind of closes the day out. So say you've had a long bedtime, many people do with the kids, and it's busy and kids with different needs, and then you finally get yourself downstairs. When you do it, it's like you're closing the day off.
Yeah, it is.
And you start afresh.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a whole week of accumulating, like hockey sticks, rackets, shoes, lunch boxes, and you come into Saturday, everyone's broken because everyone's tired from work, and then having to do that. So I think each day, if you can,
by bit, yeah.
Any major tips on that if you're using your professional services Neatly, and you've obviously acquired a load of skills and gone through the gauntlet to get there, but if you're starting today before you even reaching out to you, how do you do it? Because it can be a lot when someone goes into a room, takes all their clothes out, I'm going to Depop and charity, and they then stop because it gets too much.
Yeah, well, first of all, having kind of if you're going to do it, I wouldn't do it all in one go. So say if you want to do your wardrobe today, it's driving you mad and you can't find anything, I'd start with, say, your jeans today. Just take out, or all your trousers.
Just one section.
Yeah, one category. Take them all out. And take the ones that are in different rooms, and take the ones that are in the laundry. So you have them all together and you can see what you have. Because often you have a way more than you think you have. And when you see them all together, then you can kind of go, oh God, yeah, I never wear those. And look, I don't need 5 of the exact same jeans, so definitely bit by bit, and then you kind of achieve something and you build momentum. Whereas if you take it all out and you're stuck in the middle of this the messy middle, as we call it, you kind of get overwhelmed and you kind of just start shoving stuff back in and you don't do a proper job, and I think it ends up worse.
Or you have to step away to do something else, and then there's just plastic bags, loads of stuff, and then it is really off-putting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, who was going to give themselves 8 hours to do that? Whereas I come in and do that. So I wouldn't, if you're doing it yourself, definitely bit by bit, one category at a time, one drawer at a time. In your kitchen, start with your mugs.
Yes.
Definitely don't start with anything emotional.
Okay.
That's because that's going to be difficult, and then you kind of go, I can't do this. But so leave them till the end, when you're kind of, it's like you're exercising the muscle, you're doing these small declutters and you're achieving something, and then you kind of build a bit of confidence doing it, and then you go, okay, we can have a look at this stuff now, and you can even get a bit of help, get a friend over, or
your children neurodiverse? 2 of your children are?
Yeah, 2 of my girls are autistic.
Did you homeschool your children, did you say, or am I completely wrong?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but not by choice. Okay. It was by necessity.
Okay.
So I kind of have always done I didn't realise it until now, but as I was going along, I kind of did whatever it was that they needed. So my son has always been in school, and then my 3 girls have been in and out.
Yeah.
Beth left school in 3rd year,
Okay.
and then that's 10 years ago, and there wasn't much help.
Help,
Or there
yeah,
actually
of course.
was, I've realised now, but I couldn't
know how
find
to get
it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the 15-year-old is doing iSchool, which is something that the school set up, and so it's an online school at home. And then she was in school on and off, well, mostly out. She went in for 5th and 6th class. And then the youngest has never been to school.
Okay.
And she is, I'm not sure what we're going to be kind of doing this year.
Are you helping her at home? Yeah.
Yeah, so they're unschoolled, so we don't do book work.
Okay.
It's kind of the same way as you would parent your kids before they go to school.
Okay.
They still learn loads.
Yeah.
But you're not sitting down and teaching them, formally.
Yeah.
But they learn loads. It's kind of that continued. So a lot of it is through conversations, through their interests, from doing things. The 2 younger girls bake a lot, and that's kind of how they've learned their maths. I had a maths teacher because Tessa wanted to go to school last year, so she did try 1st year. I got a maths teacher in to do a couple of sessions. She was like, she's absolutely grand. I was like, phew, thank God.
So it's, wow. So you've poured your heart and soul into this family and into kind of helping them find their way, as adults, I guess, in this world now that's very AI led, that a lot of the things that we're doing in school are maybe a bit redundant, making sure that they have great conversation skills, culture skills and awareness. Do you ever have these kind of fears about the big bad world and them making their own way? Or are you like, no, we're equipping them in such a better way?
Yeah, I don't really have. I suppose on and off, you get little mini panics, because they read later than you would at school, but they read when they were ready. And I think sometimes it's because I'm so tired that I have the patience to go, they'll be okay.
Yeah, of course.
And then I have Beth is older, and I can see now she has her own business and she's thriving because she was given the control, because anxiety is their huge problem. And her having that control totally helps with anxiety. So no, I think they'll be grand, and I think they might have an advantage to the kids who are in school.
But also they're entrepreneurial, I presume.
Yeah, the girls have a market stall in the Plaza Market in Greystones, and Fia's very creative. She's really arty, and the same with Tessa. They've their own ideas. And I know they'll be grand. So
there's a drive in them that maybe if you're kind of in this very sedentary, routined, disciplined world, and you all come out that way, there's this alternative route, and it's really interesting to hear about it, because I have 1 or 2 people I've had on various podcasts talking about it, but not many, and it's a very interesting route. Yeah,
and it's great, I think, for other parents, because a lot of people kind of say, I know someone, they give other people my number.
Yeah.
Because parents who are stressed and don't, or the kids aren't going to school, and I just chat to them and kind of, say,
Are you happier in yourself and in your kind of relationship and in your home life with the decisions you've made? Because mothers and parents can become very stressed by the forcing children into school, by the overwhelm of trying to get them out in the morning, by making them get, go. And it can be really hard, and particularly with children who have been diagnosed with autism or not, Anne.
Oh, or not, because we didn't have any. My oldest girl didn't have, and we were trying to get her into school, and school were absolutely no help. So I've been there, and I know how stressful it is. Like the school never even got in touch with us. I had to ring them and say, can we have a meeting, because she's not going in. And that was a disastrous meeting, but it's really stressful, and I learned a lot from her, and the other girls are benefiting, I think, from that.
Right.
So I do know how stressful it is, and I'm happy to talk to parents,
because life shouldn't be like that, right?
No, and that there is another way.
Yes,
there is another way. Like our family friend who was having difficulties and didn't manage to do, I think she did 5th year but didn't manage to do 6th year. She did a Biffy kind of course, or a PLC, Blackrock, I think it was. She did some sort of pre-law instead of doing her leaving cert with a whole load of subjects and stress and whatever. She did her pre-law course, and then on the CAO 0 round, which people don't know about, before the first round there's the 0, and she got into TUI law. So there is another way of doing things.
There's always a route, and I think we're not very vocal about that. you know, when it comes to mainstream media, we talk a lot about the CAO points and the race to the leaving cert and the junior cert. And, you know, you can have the most incredibly creative people and they either do a PLC or they go to Ballyfermot or they go off on their own or they wait a year or they come back and there's so many opportunities and great ways into career. But I think, you know, you found a lovely balance there. We can all be a bit fearful of the unknown.
Totally.
Which is,
because we think there's just one way, but
there's
I think there's more and more ways opening up.
I think
now,
so too. I think it's less restrictive. Like,
I
don't know what you are, age you are, but I'm in my 40s and I do remember as a kid, it was still a bit like, that child's being homeschooled. I hope they're okay. And I thought, God, well, that child seems really happy.
Yeah, even my eldest girl, I was told by somebody in my family that it was child abuse.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
there was a little bit of an archaic, there was that thought, wasn't it? This is not right.
You have to go to
I actually
school.
have a few friends now, which is, I can't even believe I'm saying this, who are homeschooling their kids. And it's funny when they said it, I think if that was me 20 years ago, I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, wow. God, and he's awesome. And when I speak to their children, I'm like, they're thriving. Because you're doing what you do at Neatly, which is gorgeous. And if you look at Anne's feed, like her Instagram, it's so beautifully curated. Have you made your children more organized or aware of how the day has to work in order to succeed, I guess? Because when we're chaotic and we're disorganized and it doesn't work, like, have they really helped you with chores? And
yeah, so it's kind of the other way around. They showed me. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, well, two of them anyway would be very ordered and like things in a certain way, even though they can get messy, whatever, but they do like order. So it's kind of, I think that made me think about it a bit more. And then realize that life is actually easier if you kind of have a little bit of organization, which I just didn't have before. I'd have been chasing my tail. I'd have always been late, trying to fit too much in. So I think it's more because of them. And the whole homeschooling thing, I know a lot of people say, oh my God, you're great, you're brilliant. I couldn't do that. It's actually easier. It's a much slower pace.
Okay.
It's a much calmer
system
way
isn't
of
like
doing
8:39,
things.
like you do things on your own.
Yeah, I think it's easier.
And I presume that they're getting movement. I presume that there's a lot of space to walk around and play as opposed to being kind of stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, yeah. They get up and around, do what they want. They play tennis. The two younger girls play tennis a good bit. Love sea swimming. And
is there acceptance by the state that your children could do state exams like junior or leaving, or are they not in that system and therefore kind of rejected from that, or is that all changed? Because I don't know anything about that.
Oh yeah, no, you can do it.
You can prep them for it,
I haven't done that, but I think you have to be linked to a school. I don't know how it all works, but I think it's difficult enough the more and more, you know, the way it's classroom-based assessments, but it can be done. But then you can do A-levels and GCSEs and stuff. So there's other ways around it if you want to. And iSchool is the same as junior cert. It's level QQI level 3. So when Fia's finished that, she'll have not that junior cert, you know.
I presume you had quite a traditional route yourself, like you were mainstream educated.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
You went on and did nursing, so I presume your life was very different, yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to school and did nursing. I've probably wasn't a fan of the wards, and my training was the old-fashioned way. And thinking about it now, I'm so similar to my girls in some ways. My first ward was the ward sister took a dislike to me, and I'd finish work and I'd head home. I was out in Beaumont, so we were living out there. I'd head home on the bus and the train, and then the next morning Mum and Dad would pull me out of the bed, drive me over at the crack of dawn to do my next shift, and I'd be crying, and I found it really, really difficult. But anyway, I did the 3 years, and then you were moving ward every 6 weeks, so you get a little bit settled and you have to move again, and I didn't like any of that. But but they got me through my 3 years, and sure, brilliant friends, and we had great crack, and then I went travelling and stuff. And kind of found my own path. I ended up working in learning disabilities for 20 years.
Neatly must be very empowering for families when you go in. What kind of work do you do? I've looked at your feed, and there's various different bits and pieces that you do, but what is the main ask that people have of you?
The main two are kitchen and wardrobe. Okay. Sometimes playroom, but it's mainly kitchen and wardrobe.
Yes, I saw some things on playroom which I thought was brilliant, and people that are lucky enough to have gorgeous playrooms, but I saw your work.
Yeah, it's mainly kitchen and bedroom, and they have a huge impact because you're in the kitchen a lot, and then the start of the day, your clothes, the morning, your bedroom. I suppose they have I think kitchen is the highest impact on people. that if it works well.
What's messy in a kitchen? Is it fridge? Is it the various pots and pan drawers? Is it just like, why? Is it clutter of pens and pens? Like, why is the kitchen such a, in my war zone?
It's all of it.
Okay.
It's cupboards that are too deep that you can't see at the back. There's food in there that's gone out of date. You can't see what's there.
Yeah.
So putting in containers, or I always recommend people, if they can, get the pull out drawers and stuff. Yeah. If you're if you're buying a house or you're building a house or renovating a kitchen, definitely pull outs, or as many drawers as possible, or cupboards that have, the metal drawers that pull out, because you can't see what's at the back. I love Lazy Susans. They're fantastic for everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
Okay.
I even had one in the wardrobe, in the walk-in wardrobe yesterday for her cosmetics and stuff. Kind of a pretty looking one. But kitchens, they're fab for, especially corner cupboards, a big one that you can, access
turn around,
that corner. And just deep cupboards, like your herbs and spices. I love having them on the Lazy Susan. It's just to make everything accessible.
Flow.
So, and your pots and pans. So people often have far too many, and then I absolutely hate when you have to pull out pots to get a pot.
I know,
and
you're
rattling
and then there's a drama. Are you big on labeling, or is that just all kind of very Instagram-y? Do you love the labeling? Does it help? Do we need it?
I only label if you need to label. If you've got clear containers, you can see what's in it. I don't label. I'm very practical. I'm not like Pinterest perfect. I mean, when I leave your place, it's going to look perfect.
Yes.
But it's about practicality and being able to keep things and making life easier day to day. So if you don't need a label, I don't bother with labels.
Because we now have kitchens, like back in the day, you had a small kitchen or whatever, and then you might have had a conservatory or led into it. Nowadays, we have a lot of open plan spaces where a living room feeds into our kitchen area. And during COVID, there would be people working or doing schoolwork, or there was so much going on in these spaces. And they are a hub of activity, of joy, of love, of sadness. There's a lot that happens in a kitchen. We know they're traditionally in Ireland where you would, have grief, you would have a cup of tea, you would have your friends over. There's a lot that goes on. So I presume there's a lot of psychology behind your kitchen.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of psychology in going in and decluttering for people.
Yes.
There really is. And some people, I arrived at the door and it wasn't her kitchen. It was more of, she kind of had a junk room, and then the office playroom was a mess.
Oh my God, we all have a junk.
Don't we all?
A junk box or a junk room. What is that?
And I arrived and she just burst out crying. I was like, oh, the poor thing. So we had a cuppa first and we had a chat or whatever.
She was emotional?
And she was really emotional. And it's kind of the fear of, oh my God, what's she going to make me get rid of? And I don't make
it. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Are just facing it, knowing it's there. But I don't I'm very gentle. We do end up decluttering a lot, but there's certain things. I mean, I think everyone should have a memory box and keep some.
Or maybe she was stressed. There's a lot of overwhelm in looking at a junk room or utility room jammed with stuff, or a boot room that used to be beautiful 5 years ago and is now just shoved with stuff. I mean, I kind of face into my weekend. I'm like, right, I need to attack the attic, get rid of the baby stuff. I now don't have a baby. Get rid of all and it kind of. I think we feel life, like we sit on the couch and we scroll or we go out and do things, but we just don't want to face our old stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Either holds memories that are sad, or else it's just like, where am I going to put these things? Like, what are your answers to that?
It can be really hard, and it's the especially for children and getting rid of children. That lady found it really hard to get rid of anything to do with her kids, any of the baby stuff. So, we just do it really gently, and I kind of remind people that the memory isn't in that thing. You have the memory, but still, you don't have to get rid of everything, that you can keep things and have your memory box per child. Definitely, I think get a good big memory box per child.
Okay, that's a really nice idea.
And, you should have some things. And as they get older, I've discovered that you go through things and you can't even remember the thing, so you can edit it as you go along, things that don't hold a memory anymore. But it is, the memories aren't in the thing, even they do remind you of it. Take a photo, or that memory is in your heart there. You have the memory.
So you're a bit like a therapist. Like, it's a bit like, it's not just kind of these women that you see on these shows who are going in and they're cleaning up a house and they're leaving. Like, there's a bit of a relationship built up, but like a therapy, you sit and you talk, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And then I presume you charge per room, or you charge per house, or what you do?
I charge per day.
Okay.
So I get people to send me videos of their space, and then I'll know by looking at it how long it's going to take me. It's generally a day per room.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I love it. I love the messier the better, because you have a huge difference when you leave and it's a bigger impact. I love the messages I get from people saying it's made life easier.
Satisfying job.
It's so satisfying. It really
I don't know if
is.
there's that many of you. Maybe I'm completely ignorant on this, Anne, but like when you and I reached out, I know American shows and British shows. I don't know if there's that many of you in Ireland. Am I wrong?
There's a few of us. There's not loads.
Yeah.
There's a lot in England now.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But there's only a few of us
Because you
over
have to go
here.
and get qualified in all of this.
Yeah.
I love your reels, events that you do, but it's kind of beautiful to see. It's extraordinary. Everyone loves a before and after with anything in life, but it's extraordinary to see that.
Yeah.
Do you worry that people go back to their old ways, or do you think they've changed completely?
I find so far that people stick with it. Like the girl I was with yesterday doing her wardrobe, I did her kitchen in April, I think it was, and she was proudly showing me, look, it's all still done. Because it makes life easier, they stick with it. You know what I mean? So it's, so I think they
What
they
are we
do
the
stick
worst
with
at
it.
in Ireland as Irish people at collecting? What are we the worst at not throwing out? Because I think we are very attached or sentimental about stuff and we get a bit hoardy. What would be your from experience, what you see most?
Mugs, I think.
Mugs!
I think everybody has too
and
many
broken
mugs.
ones with broken handles.
Chips out of them, and so many people have kind of memories. They're these mugs that they love.
No.
There far too many mugs.
Names on them or countries.
Yeah. From
and
holidays
fridge
and
magnets.
stuff. Fridge magnets.
Clothes, are we bad at clothes?
Loads of clothes. I think it's
terrible.
That's across the board, isn't it? Far too many clothes. And just, I'd be there and there's packages arriving. I'm like, oh.
And there's that whole thing about clothes that if you're not wearing the 15 outfits of that year, like if you've noticed you haven't worn that shirt in a year, or is it 12 months, there's a whole thing that actually you're never going to probably wear it.
Yeah, unless you have a few things that like for weddings
Yes,
and things like that. But your day-to-day stuff, if you're not like, I think it's great at the end of the season. And for us, really, it's the cold season and then the little short warm season. So at the end of the cold season, if there's woolly coats, woolly jumpers that you didn't wear, I'd get rid of them. Why would you keep? And summer ones, especially this summer, we had a great summer. If you didn't wear it this summer, you definitely.
We're in sustainability, we're in environmental, making better decisions. So we're not chucking. What are we doing? What do you do when you have someone's wardrobe and it's filled with rubbish? Do charity shops want our stuff as much anymore? How do we get rid of stuff?
Yeah, I have different charity shops that I bring different things to. So I go to Reloved Ireland. They open a shop in Greystones for the clothes. And then other things, I go to different shops. So St. Vincent de Paul, I have 5 Loaves and Bray,
Clothes banks still take, there's still all that?
It's very little that I take will go to clothes banks. I generally rehome everything. There was some, I'm not sure which charity.
But if things are destroyed, like if they're all trackies with stains on them or horrible old maternity t-shirts, with that kind of stuff, are you kind of clothes banking?
Clothes bank, but there's not really much of that.
No.
Most things go to the charity shops. Some charities stitched in those AirTag things into some clothes that were gone into the clothes banks, and they ended up in all crazy places around the world.
Wow.
So it's like, oh. So it's hard. It's so hard to, you do your best. I mean, I try and rehome everything. Like there's certain things that charity shops don't take. Now the one in Kilcool, actually the community thrift shop there, do take things with plugs, whereas most places don't. But if there's anything, I just put on the zero waste page locally and people come and take it from my house.
It's a good tip.
So everything
we don't
goes
have everything in landfill. It's all well and good decluttering our home because we're all consumers and we buy too much, but we also don't want to destroy the planet.
Yeah. And then people say to me, how is that? You've gone from zero waste shop to decluttering everything. But they're really similar because there's no point in having the things in your house not being used that somebody else can use. So I'm not throwing things in the bin. Yeah, they go and get used by somebody else.
Children's things the same? You go to the same kind of places?
Yeah.
Is there a lot in grief, like women, and this is such a big question, women who've had a stillborn child and have prepped a room for a child, or women who've lost a partner, or divorced people who are separating their homes of things? Do you come across stories that are quite emotive?
Yeah, it's often ladies who've lost their husband and it'll be a few years on. I had one lady who was 7 years on and she'd never touched his clothes.
Oh,
so it's obviously a lot slower and a lot more gentle. But they do kind of, they get upset. It's very emotional. But then afterwards, they're kind of relieved that they've done it. They've been putting it off and knowing that they need to do it for a long time. So I think the nursing side helps me with that kind of stuff.
Those conversations.
Yeah.
have these 4 beautiful children. You have a busy home, it sounds. You're keeping everything going, your business. Are you big on chores for your children, knowing that they have things to do, places to put things, that they help you around the house? Do you think it's very important that we give our children independence?
Yeah. But I can't make them do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So yeah, and we swapped the jobs around because for some reason everybody gets sick of doing the dishwasher.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. Can I hang out the clothes? I'm like, yeah, great. So
Great.
it's great.
So there's a bit of a roster going on with
kind of, it changes. It's quite
flexible.
open and
Yeah,
flexible.
yeah.
But yeah, the dishwasher is one thing, and then hanging out the clothes, which is so handy to have someone to hang out your clothes.
I know.
I bring the clothes in.
This is why we want our kids to get older in a way. We all get sad when they're gone and they're not as young, but it's lovely when they can help.
Isn't it? And then sorting the clothes into piles of who owns what.
Yeah.
It's very handy.
But it's a
But
satisfaction
they don't always
for them,
do it.
right?
Yeah,
like they feel better about themselves when they're doing stuff.
I don't know about that, but
Oh my gosh.
but they do it
How
most
can
of the
people
time.
get in touch, and how far in advance do they have to get in touch? So say if you're heading into Christmas now, you have people coming to stay, or maybe even an empty nesting situation, people have gone off to college, or maybe you're feeling like this is a gift to yourself. How do people start the process with you?
So they can go onto my website, it's Neatly.ie, and there's a form there that they fill out, which is literally, I don't ask for much information and I'll get in touch with them. Or on Instagram, it's also Neatly.ie, and they can message me there and I'll get back to them. I'm fully booked until December 8th, I think it is. So I
there's
have
a few slots, and the
a
new
few
year
slots
is a
before
good
Christmas.
time to face your demons.
Yeah, it is. And I do give vouchers if anybody
brilliant.
wants to put that on their Christmas
That's
list.
a lovely idea.
That it's not going to add clutter to their house. It'll be removing clutter from their house. I'm actually doing an 8-week Neatly Christmas prep at the minute, so that getting people to do small little things each week. So
that's
come
amazing.
December, they can sit back and sip their mulled wine.
Oh my God,
and
I
not
love
be
that.
running around the
And
place.
8 weeks, so go on, what's in that?
So this is week 2. So last week was the first week. And what did we do last week? A toy declutter, because there's new stuff coming in. I can't remember what else I did, but it's all there on the Instagram.
Brilliant.
This week is write your your gift list.
Yes.
So the teachers
And
just
start
everyone
budgeting and getting ready
budget
for
for
that.
each one,
Yeah.
and start a supermarket card thing where you can put a bit of money in, and it's just about a few
Tipping
practical
away.
things.
Yeah.
Last week as well was booking Santa and booking the wild lights and booking those things, because you need to book them now if you want to get your choice
It's
of date.
overwhelming. I feel as mums anyway, it just all comes at you. It's like, did you get the auntie the present? Did you do? It's very hard.
Yeah. Well, I had one of my babies was September, and then one was October, and one was November. So over those years,
my
I was like,
goodness.
I'm getting ready for Christmas early.
Okay, good for
because
you.
I didn't want to be. And that just got me in the habit of doing it all early. And then my husband will do his shopping on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And he's panicking.
He sounds
And I'm
like me.
like, oh,
You're
I
like,
did
I've
it
done
all.
my bits. Ann Teehan, pleasure to talk to you. Neatly.ie, but also Neatly on Instagram. And I think, it's something that seems like a luxury, but actually how much it'll help your headspace and your family. I couldn't say enough about it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Rebecca.